between the religion, or that time, commonly we can refer to as the church, because church is a religious institution. So there was a very close bonhomie, there was a very close association between the church and the king. Let's quickly dive into the main topic. So, as I was telling you, that secularism is a principle which basically talks about how your religion is separate from politics, and it is the principle of separation of government institutions also, and persons mandate or people mandated to represent the state from religious institutions and religious dignitaries. Thus, religion should be separate from all the aspects of state and governance. That means religion will have no role to play as such with state or governance. Now, why do this, or why is this concept of secularism so important these days, or how did it actually, get this prominence? So, in England, or in during the ages of feudalism, which were also referred to as the Dark Ages, there was a very clear so-called association between the religion, or that time, commonly we can refer to as the church, because church is a religious institution. So there was a very close bonhomie, there was a very close association between the church and the king, and whatever the church used to say, the king had to follow it. Same way as you had in India the dharma gurus, or the priests, the Brahmin priest, who used to command a lot of power and influence over the Rajput or the Kshatriya rulers. Same way, the kings in feudal times in England and other parts of the world, they were controlled a lot by the priests, and that is why they had to make laws according to religion. So mostly those countries which have laws which are dependent on religion, or the constitution dependent on religion, they are called as theocratic states. They are called as theocratic state, meaning these are the state or countries who have molded their laws with respect to the religious laws. For example, Iran, Pakistan, majorly Iran, they follow their Sharia law, or Saudi Arabia, or Pakistan for that matter. So these countries have their laws. They have human rights and other issues, laws related to multiple things. But ultimately, when it comes to their Islamic law, that gets more prominence. So that is where religion comes to starts playing its role in the state affairs and the government, which is totally opposite of the concept of secularism, because in secularism there is no role in its real sense. Secularism ke andar there is no role of religion or whatsoever. There's a complete separation. So India does not really follow the complete separation. It's a different version of secularism that we'll be seeing in India that is followed. So the term secular itself means that being separate from religion, or having no religious basis. Now, constitutional makers realize this fact, that India already suffered a great deal during partition and before partition, when the seeds of communalism were sowed by the Britishers, especially starting from 1909 under the Morley Minto reforms, and what happened with Muslim League and the other parties and other political parties or outfits during the freedom struggle, that was the resultant culmination of what all happened during that time, and eventually we had to face a partition, which was one of the biggest migration of millions of people in the world at that time, and there were so many communal riots. So having realized that, our constitutional makers had a very heated debate in the Constituent Assembly, and they discussed a lot of pros and cons of different provision that had to be included in the constitution to prevent that which happened during the freedom struggle. So that is why they came up with the concept of freedom of religion and fundamental rights. And even if we say that, you might be aware that in preamble, the word secularism was initially not there. It was added by 42nd Amendment Act. So even if it was not added, our preamble was, or even the constitution was very much, secular, because there are other provisions in the constitution which give protection to religious minorities, freedom of religion. There are a lot of different things, free from maintenance of taxes and other provisions. So having said that, secularism is an idea which I mentioned previously as well, is talking about separation of religion, or majorly no significant role of religion in the governance aspect of a nation or a state. So, secularism is a normative doctrine which seeks to rationalize a secular society, and that is one devoid of either inter-religious domination or the intra-religious domination. Now, this is a very important point. A secular society is the one where no one particular religious dominates or even other religion dominates. So it seeks to, remove inter-religious domination as well, that, there is a sort of competition between different religions, and also tries to avoid dominance by a particular single religion. It promotes freedom within the religions and equally between as well as within the religion. It also includes separation between the state and religion. In fact, the nature and extent of separation may take different forms depending upon the specific value it is meant to promote and the way in which these values are spelled out. So there can be different versions of secularism, but one of the most common, as I told you, is separation of the state from religion. So as I mentioned that initially our constitution did not have any specific provision, or the word secularism was specifically not mentioned, though it was mentioned already in the term secular activity in Article 25. But specifically the word secularism was not mentioned, or secular was not mentioned. Secular activity, the two words were mentioned already before itself in the Constitution. So with the 42nd Amendment Act in 1976, the preamble was amended and it asserted that India is a secular nation. You can say that it was a political move at that time, but nevertheless, as you know, preamble is the ID card of our Constitution, highlights the essence of our Constitution. So the government or the political scenario mandated that we amend the Constitution and include the term secular in our Constitution and preamble. So what basically means is that a secular person is the one who does not owe his moral values to any religion. So if I say I am secular, that means I respect all religions and I do not give preference to any particular religion. Similarly, that is why when you say that when we read the preamble of our Indian Constitution, it starts with the word that we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. So we are a country where there is no official state religion. We value and respect every religion in India. So we do not have any official religion. So that is why the term when India, any leader visits the UN, or when any India there is a reference about India, it is always mentioned as Republic of India. If you compare with other countries like Iran and Pakistan, they are called as Islamic Republic of Pakistan or Islamic Republic of Iran. That itself mentions that what is their official religion or which religion is important to the state, not a secular country. Republic of India, no official religion. That is just one example. Of course, you have Republic of France and UK, etc. But that is not, UK is not a republic. It's a monarchy. But there can be words, which can be misleading, that it's a republic, but it still might have a state religion, or might promote a certain religion because the dominant religion in that particular country might be, one which controls most of the affairs of the government. So, yeah. So a secular person is a person who does not have any sort of affiliation or who does not owe their moral values. Now, this does not mean that you do not practice religion. A secular person in no way means that the person cannot follow any religion. The point is that the person should not discriminate between other religions and should also not discriminate with people from different religions. Because his values, his thinking should be rational and should be based on scientific principles, not based on religious ideologies. So in India, secularism means that equal status to all religion, and the secular state is a state that guarantees individual and corporate freedom of religion, deals with the individual as a citizen irrespective of their religion, and is not constitutionally connected to a particular religion, nor does it seek either to promote or interfere. So that is when I said that India's concept of secularism is one which does not promote any particular religion also, or will not discriminate also. It is both. We will not even promote a particular religion, and we will also not discriminate against a particular religion. That is the Indian concept of secularism. But we'll see the what are the different meanings attached to Indian concept of secularism, how in fact it evolved. Because Indian concept of secularism has evolved over ages, from the ancient time to medieval period, and then the freedom struggle, and then the post-independence era as well. But before we begin, some recent data from a very very important think tank in US called as the Pew Research Center. So they have given a data of the percentage of Indian. So Hindus are still a large majority in India, while the share of Muslims have gradually grown. So this was a recent study that was published in 2021 September. In fact, it's very latest and recent data. Now it says that Hindus population has grown, but Muslims has grown much more larger. And similarly, there is data of Christians, Sikhs, and other minorities, Buddhists and Jain as well. So the latest data says that Hindus make up the majority of India, that is 79.8% of India's 1.2 billion people, that is 120 crore. And this was according to the recent census as well. And so this is kind of 0.7 percentage less than the previous census, and 4.3 points below the 84.1 recorded in 1951. That means Indian society is becoming more homogeneous. You have people from different religion also kind of growing in numbers. So meanwhile, the share of Muslims has actually grown from 13.4 to 14.2 in 2011, up by a total of 4.4 percentage point. Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists and Jains, who together make up nearly all of the remaining 6% population, were relatively stable. So Hindus are still a majority, but the population of Muslims has grown in much larger number than as compared to Hindus. So latest data which can be used in answer writing, when you are quoting, you can quote Pew Research Center. So this is just a snapshot. So this was just a snapshot of the composition of different religion, people from different religion and communities in India.